So I was watching one of Bass FCZ's videos concerning women who sleep around a lot, have a lot of partners in today's hookup culture and, Tinder Olympics. Link to his video below where he talks about it in detail, but I wanted to weigh in a little bit on it as well. With women who want to sleep around, it doesn't bother me per se. If you want to do it loud and proud, like gay people are loud and proud. Like anyone else who wants to own their lifestyle and their choices, be loud and proud. But what I don't like is these women who say, like this woman that Bass was showcasing on his video, where she's excusing herself saying, oh, every girl goes through a phase, as though it's just something people do, like in university or college, people go through an experimental phase. Like people know and they pretend it's nothing, but they keep getting annoyed that it's something later. And it's sort of irritating when they're smart enough to use sophistry and sophisticated language to excuse their immoral behavior. Like, I was going through isolation. It was a coping mechanism for my trauma, going on the carousel and betting an avalanche of guys in your 20s. And women love using their ambiguous spirituality talk by saying things like, I was connecting with my divine physical to the core of my blah, blah, blah. It's basically she just wanted to sleep around. And she likes to gaslight everybody by saying that she couldn't help herself, or it was a phase, or everyone does it, don't they? Or it's better than eating a baby, or it's just a bit of cheeky fun. And you see it in their dating profiles, I'm kissing frogs to find my prince. Yeah, basically you're going to continue kissing frogs because no prince will want to kiss that mouth. And why it's a bit disingenuous when they know that greater society, and especially men who they want to choose them later, or they rely on men to be good fathers, upstanding citizens, guys who, don't have a criminal record, have a relatively clean past, but their past, it can be as dirty as they want. And men just have to accept it because, the poor girls didn't know any better, or they were affected by their childhood, or they were lonely, or they were coping with some ambiguous psychobabble, they were going through something really hard. So they had no recourse but to, use the pressure release valve of having gangs and sleeping with multiple men until they basically become invisible. And then later on, it's like, now I want to settle down and have a real relationship. The amount of women past middle age who I've talked to, and one or two I've actually gone out with, that say they've never either been in love really or haven't had a real proper serious relationship. And that amazes me. It probably doesn't amaze a lot of these newer generations, but to me it's really telling. Look, you're free to do whatever you want with other people consensually, but you're not free of the consequences of your choices, especially if you rely on other people accepting certain moral norms or codes. And you can jump up and down all you want later on and say it's unfair when you've obviously got an awful resume and it's very, very hard. So you're relying on people's understanding and kindness. You can't actually get upset. All you can do later on is just be grateful that people accept you, not get angry. This is the stuff parents used to teach children, used to restrain them from because, every kid wants to eat chocolate cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and have no limits to those things. But parents restrain their kids to teach them lessons that later on they're grateful for. It's good to limit yourself. It's good to restrain yourself. It's good to diet. It's good to defer your gratification. Most of these women who are ultra confident and they don't think they need a future that relies on other people or men later on, it's already hard enough for women by wasting the most fertile years of their life and their most attractive years in the eyes of men who they want to choose them by just holding out, traveling, careers, all that kind of stuff until they feel like, it's slowing down, the party's over. It's bad enough that in their 30s, they decide, okay, now I should hurry up and have kids when 90% of your eggs are gone and you're really scrambling for the few remaining men who are left in their midlives who want children by now, most of those guys have passed that. They've made their lives without children or might have had one. So your chances in your 30s, ladies, are fairly slim to none, but also it doesn't help you that you were the town bike for a few decades. A man doesn't want to turn a into a housewife. It's as simple as that, any more than a woman with open arms will welcome, a guy with a criminal record or something else that's socially reprehensible or something that you wouldn't really want to associate with the pick of your child. So you really can't blame men if you're honest, ladies. I mean, really be honest, ladies. Would you let your son go out with a woman who slept around a lot? Don't think about yourself. Don't say, oh, but I'm a good person even though I've slept around a lot. Try just for a second to take yourself out of the picture. And what kind of woman would you pick for your son that you care about? Would you rather a woman, okay, two women, they're identical. Their characters and who they are identical. They're twin sisters, if you like. But one sister didn't sleep around much. She has better moral character. The other one did. Which one would you choose for your son? Exactly. And that's all I'm saying, and that's why it shouldn't be baffling why it's hard to find a decent man after midlife if you're really honest about your rap sheet and your resume. Because this is the thing, you try and hide all of this later on, and both men and women, we're too astute, we're too switched on. We start putting two and two together about what you say, how you act. Little parts of your stories sort of start coming out as you're together, you know each other's friends, and things come out. You can't hide this stuff. So I suppose in midlife, you're better to be honest about everything and then find someone who's going to accept you. But what happens is there's too many people, and I've met them. Unfortunately, I've dated them. They're closed. They don't want to be completely honest because they're ashamed of a lot. But there's always something off because the person can't be completely open and honest about who they are. And it's coupled with a woman's romantic notion that what's really the height of love and romance is to find that guy at the last minute, like romantic movies where everything goes wrong, it seems hopeless, it's going to end badly, and just at the right minute, she finds love. You see it in a lot of these romantic dramas. Old, middle-aged women finding some young guy with a six-pack who is a billionaire. And a lot of women are holding out to feel so special that no matter what I did and how I treated myself like trash and I slept with thousands of men, that despite how trashy I've been, eat your heart out, girls, I still got away with it. I found a guy. Nah, you can't do it. I did it. Against all odds, I had a baby at 50. That romantic Hail Mary of I want to fall in love with the smallest odds near the end of my dating and reproductive life, just before I have no choice but to admit defeat and become a cat lady. And there's no point saying, oh, it's not fair, they should judge me by who I am. I mean, would you with a guy, if he told you about some stuff that you'd find pretty distasteful, and you say, you know what, yeah, I'll hold out. He's a nice guy, but I'm going to keep dating. And you'll find someone better. And especially with someone who's been morally awful. I mean, there are a lot of things that if guys have been scum, women rightly won't pick them. It plays a lot into seeing a person with value. In the same way, a woman's not going to casually pick a guy to be her husband, protect her, provide, be the father of her children, if he just wants to live at home, play Xbox, and live with his parents and never wants to work again. I mean, let's be realistic. You can't go to a job not wanting to wear a suit or not wanting to at least dress well for an interview and then blaming the system that you're not being chosen, when you don't want to try and you don't want to discipline yourself for someone else, yet you're frustrated that you're not getting picked by somebody else. So these live fast, young, promiscuous women that sleep around and think that's liberating and why can't I do it and I love it because they get attention, they get a lot of guys. Yeah, you do. Just like taking a lot of drugs in your youth, you get a lot of buzz too. But there's negative repercussions later on. And if you got half a brain, if you care about your future, you'd curb yourself a bit, because whether it's, a face tattoo or whether it's having slept around a lot, these things on your resume matter to other people. You can wince and think it's unfair, but if you're relying on someone picking you, and the older you get, you have to keep hiding it and lying about it and twisting stories, and you're always nervous, you're wondering if your partner will ever find out, whether he'll connect two and two together, whether the story will drop through your friends, what might let something slip, or you'll bump into a guy or another guy, and then your partner will say, hey, you've been out with more guys than I thought. Who's this guy? You never mentioned him. So I really don't have much sympathy for women who sleep around a lot, and then when the party's over at midlife, and they never actually made the effort to find someone to marry or have kids if that's what they wanted. If they didn't, more power to them. It doesn't bother me. Do what you want. Have the lifestyle you want. But the lying to themselves and to the faces of people around them, especially a guy, so you're not left behind, that you're a good girl who just happened to have a lot of sex. You get older and you're talking to people who aren't as dumb. You're not trying to convince a 16-year-old hormonal boy that he should be serious about you. You're trying to convince a man who thinks with this head now, he's older, like you, he's sensible, he's settled, he's much more responsible than the teenage mode that you've been living on, and you're trying to still convince him of, that you're worth it. So anyway, leave your comments below, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and if you feel like supporting my channel, links below. I really appreciate you guys who have donated this month. It means a lot. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.